Hello and welcome to the Koaster Khaos channel. This is our first podcast. I'm joined by James Keenan.
Wagwan,
And
Coaster Dem.
there we go. So we're just gonna
Dem of coasters.
the Koaster Dem.
Coaster Dem? Yeah.
Anyway, so which
Dab on Vacoma.
that's the one.
Sorry, yeah. Hello.
So we're just gonna be chatting some shit about the theme park community, talking about our thoughts on attractions and mazes that are going on, as it is the spooky season after all.
The spooky season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone is gonna be spooked out by any of the mazes this year, considering last year they considerably dropped in scariness.
Yeah, I wasn't too pleased with last year, to be quite honest.
Are we jumping ahead of the gun though? Are we saving this for later?
Yeah, I think we should talk about this later on in the show.
Okay, cool, right.
Okay,
So, latest in theme park news, Andrew Seeley has escaped from prison with Rolf Harris.
the word escaped can be placed very loosely. I think he was sort of I think he served his time. Obviously not too much. I mean, for what he did, you know, personally.
I've heard rumours that Kim Nash is holding him hostage.
Ah, that would make sense. Because I heard
Yeah.
that he was finale in his latest maze.
Oh my god, that would be horrible. Can you imagine the end of the maze, Andrew Seeley, they're like, I'm just here for a nice day out with my wife. It's just repeating that over and over and over again.
The thing is that you forgot then is that you need to really emphasise the word wife. It's more like a wife. I'm having a nice day with my wife.
Yeah.
A nice day with my wife.
I'm having a nice day with my wife at Portland's Park. Why Portland's Park?
The thing is, man, I saw a post made by the man himself, and he commented on something saying, "What's it like to go on a roller coaster that goes upside down? I've never been on one." And I read something. I think it was Zoe Mitchell. Don't mark my words on that one, but she did comment saying, "Yeah, well, that tends to happen when you only visit children's parks."
Yeah. Well, it's true. I don't believe he's never been on a ride that's been so down. Do you know what the interesting thing is about Andrew Seeley and my account of him? Is I had a YouTube channel with him, no word of a lie, which you might think, how the fuck does that come about? But it was like back before I had the James Smiles thing, and I was talking to him on Facebook, because you know what he's like, he's very slippery, he gets in everyone's DMs, and he messaged me and was like, can we start a YouTube channel? And I was like, fuck it, why not, we'll go halves on it. And then a couple months later, he let's say he became quite popular within the theme park community. And then that video came out and he was arrested and we didn't see him again. Do you reckon we're gonna see a return of his vlogs?
I'd like to. I'd like to see him again, not in the sense that, you know, he's a kiddie fiddler, but in the sense that you know, it's probably a good idea to keep an eye on him.
I've heard he's the next secret weapon of Alton Towers' new lineup.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. I could definitely design a coaster loosely down.
Have you seen the Seeley Express?
Well, there you go.
Well, it's already. I can see it now. I can see it now. Oh,
so
God. Yeah, so podcast.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself and say about your experience?
Right. And yeah, okay. So my name's James. Usually I'd say James Smiles, but that's an old thing. Some of you watching this may or may not have seen that. It's basically the biggest cringe fest on YouTube. And I've been interested in theme parks, I sound like an alcoholic, for around 5 or so years now, I don't know. It all happened because I started doing work experience at the towers a while ago, and slowly it spiraled out of control. I became addicted to the smell of chain lifts and now I'm shooting WD-40 into my veins every day. It's quite a sad story. What about you, Dan?
Well, I wish you Godspeed in that, to be honest, mate. I hope that you get better.
Thank you. I'm hoping that with this podcast I can come to some kind of recovery and find some help, because ever since Air was changed to Galactica, I haven't really been able to feel any compassion or love in my life.
Well, it's
No.
you know, it's good to talk about.
Go on.
It's good to talk about the things that have sort of led you down a dark path, I guess. And
Yeah.
for me, it was sort of years ago. Now, I got drawn into this community. Thinking about it, probably this shows how much of an old man I am. Probably when Mr. Sandbrook had Sandbrook
Productions. Yeah, it was probably roughly the same time for me as well. Do you remember when I remember he used to. I think the first thing I ever watched from him was this Blackpool Pleasure Beach video. He did like an update one where they closed some ride, and it was ages ago.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I can't remember when, but it must have been about. I must have been about 13 when that channel closed down.
See, they would have been loving you.
Oh well, I would have been loving Seeley because he hasn't been. And essentially, 13-year-old Dan thought very, very strongly of Sandbrook, and then realised that there were videos of him spouting profanity on the internet, and that broke my heart.
Wait, what videos are you referring to?
I have no idea. It's like a bloopers video or something.
Oh shit, I didn't even see that. Hey, look, I also had quite a big love for Sean Sandbrook. It was after watching Minecraft videos from Yogscast I was on end at 13. I'd whack on a bit of Sandbrook Productions. If I recall, I think the first Sean Sandbrook video I ever watched was him breaking a annual pass because it ran out. Which was really strange. You remember that?
The only thing I get from that, I get one word that comes to my head, and that is maverick.
Yeah, he is a maverick. Let's be honest. If you talk about some of the things he's done more recently, which I'm sure we'll get to, he has proven to be a bit of a maverick. And he does dab on his haters.
He does. He likes to dab on his haters, and
he makes everything into an innuendo, which honestly really annoys me now, because I didn't notice it before, and since Adam Moss, which I also don't like, but I have to be honest, since he pointed that out, I now have a hard time watching Sean's vlogs.
Because 99% of the words he says is some way linked to ramming Charlotte in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, plumbing her. For sure. I forgot where we came from. Oh, we were talking about how we got into this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could say that he makes a tidal wave.
Right?
I don't know, I had to say that because it was there, but... Yeah, so, like, picture us two, 13, watching Sean's videos, and then... Oh, if we skip ahead a bit, because back then I didn't really have any theme park friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the first time I made theme park friends, actually, like proper theme park community nerd friends, was at James Butler's first meetup. I don't know if you remember Jamie 190.
Yeah, Jamie Butler 190.
I love James, but he disappeared.
The face of the earth, yeah.
Yeah, he did. It's quite sad, but he's back. He's returned.
I think I saw him in Skin Snatchers last year.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's great in that though.
I can't remember.
Great. Oh my god.
Carry on.
I was gonna say, so I was at his first meetup. That's when I first met anyone properly. So there was a young Caitlin Day there. There was a Tom Exley.
Oh.
There was quite a few people there. And there was probably who else was there? Alex Weston.
Yep.
Right, which is naive, because I was so naive then. This is when I got completely drawn into something, and I thought it was great. Like, the whole community, everyone there was so nice. And then Alex I stayed in contact with, and I started talking to a few other people. And then my next few trips on Park made me realise that a certain group that Alex Weston was, we'll get to that, but a certain group that he was in were total fucking dicks, and that was the first time I realised that the community is such an arsehole place to be.
I wonder who was part of that group. Well,
This is where it
I've
comes
got a
to me
little
and you.
story. So, yeah, this is a very long introduction, guys, but my story here is, essentially this group that, my friend is mentioning, was my gateway into this sex-addled, roller coaster-filled world that we are somehow in. This group was the first stepping stone, if you'd like, and for me it was a very interesting experience. I somehow came across the likes of Will Donahue and
Classic Coke, Will Donahue.
Classic Coke Will, yeah.
I'm so glad you reminded me he exists.
Yeah, exactly. He's gone as well, but somehow like I came across him and he goes, you should meet my friends. So I go, okay. I don't really have any friends, so this should be fun. So I became part of what was then called the Troop, and yeah,
fucking hate the Troop, man. Oh my god, the trauma.
It was a very, it was kind of like stick EastEnders, Hollyoaks, all of that inside a theme park. That was the Troop. So
it was Mean Girls, mate. For me, it was fucking Mean Girls.
It was Mean Girls. I agree, and I'm not really in contact with them anymore, except from one of them, which is Henry Buxton, who I am good friends with now. After a slight falling out, which we won't go into. However, that was my first stepping stone. I then became very good friends with the man you were talking to currently.
Hello.
And from there, I kind of just became a bit irrelevant, and now these 12-year-olds have been coming in trying to take
wait, before we get to the 12-year-olds, back to like when we met. So the Troop, yeah, like you said, it was kind of like individually people that were in the Troop, most of them were alright, but they had this is from my point of view. You can explain yours actually feeling it afterwards. But from my point of view, I just came into the theme park community, I started hanging out on the park, making all these friends, and it's great. It is one of the best. I know we're going to slag it off, but it was a great upbringing, and it was a great teenage fun. Is that the right word?
Yeah, it was a good environment whilst you were in it.
Yeah, but they had this group mob mentality that they were better than everybody else, and if you didn't know how many bolts were in Nemesis, then you were just a peasant. And I was still learning about shit back then, so it was very intimidating to me. And then as I became better and became who I was, I just realised that they were dicks. How did we become friends?
Shit.
How did you fall out with somebody in the group? Because I was at this point I was friends with Emily J and Kinder, James Butler, Tom Exley. Wait, it was Emily. Oh shit, it was when we went to Scarefest, wasn't it?
It was Emily, and I'd fallen out with all of the Troop, and Emily said you should join one of our Skype chats, and I eventually started talking to you.
It was Sonic Squad. We were Sonic Squad. I remember now. We made Sonic Squad purely just to take the piss out of the Troop.
Yeah, it was kind of like a retaliation to the system.
Yeah, it was. It totally was, but I don't think they even noticed.
No, they didn't. They didn't even know we existed.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no, that's a lie. That is a lie. They did know we existed, because I know one member, I can't remember who, but I remember that one of them made a comment about a particular Sonic Squad, and they were like, you know, we'd somehow separated a theme park of accepting fun.
Yeah.
Into like a turf war, and it was incredible.
It was like a turf war. It totally was. That's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
I think I remember getting pissed off at the Troop for squirting me on the flume.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. I don't know why it pissed me off. It was basically like high school. It's because we were all there so often. So like, because we were there pretty much every weekend, it's kind of like, it becomes your home, in a sense. And enthusiasts listening to this, you'll understand that. But, yeah, I don't know, we had our own little I'm looking for a word.
Ecosystem, eco-habitat.
Yeah, ecosystem. Does eco-habitat work as well? Does that make sense?
I don't really know, to be fair, mate.
Fuck it. Right, but yeah.
What you're saying is true. I mean, it was sort of like a home away from home. And
yeah, definitely.
Sort of what. That's why I can understand why there was a lot of passion about certain situations and certain opinions on people, because it was very much like a high school, just like.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Totally was. I remember I actually bunked my maths test, my first GCSE maths test, to go to Alton Towers. I like, took my uniform out, so I thought I was going to school, and instead I got on the bus and went to Alton Towers.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I know. But oh no, shit! I was trying to miss my maths test, and it actually turned out to have bunked off school on the wrong day, and the next day was the maths test, so I didn't actually avoid it. That was it. That was annoying, actually, thinking back on it.
Crazy shit.
But yeah, so that's who we are. I'm speaking for both of you, but I'll give you a chance in a minute. But we're passionate about Alton Towers, but we've gotten to a certain stage now where we've watched a lot of shit happen, and we want to talk about it, and we also want to trash talk everything that's going on at the moment, because it's become a bit of a meme.
Yeah, completely. I mean, what built us as people, and has built our sort of background and our attitudes towards theme parks and the community, is fallen into a whirlwind of shit at the moment.
But as well as doing that, I think it's also important to note that as much as I still do really enjoy it, and we should get some good vlogs and some good topics discussed on here. Like we want to talk about stuff and be serious about it as well.
Yeah, completely. I mean, like, obviously we can talk as much shit as we want, but it's important to hold on to what interests you. So that's kind of the whole point of Koaster Khaos. It's kind of just a way of chatting shit and talking about what we love, and just bringing you guys along with it.
Yeah,
really.
Totally. So, if you want to start on anything, let's talk about the Alton Towers dungeons.
Let's do it.
So, what is going on, Dan? What the fuck? When did this happen? When did you first hear about this as a thing?
Oh, I only heard about the dungeons as soon as it was confirmed. I heard about it maybe like a week and a half ago, and I personally love the idea of a dungeon, but the speculation that people have been coming up on me about and saying, it's where Charlie is, and it's not actually going to be in the towers. Don't get me wrong, I love dungeon attractions. However, mixing a dungeon attraction with a children's themed area,
it's not working. It just doesn't work.
Also, every dungeons attraction, if any of you have been in a dungeons attraction, any of the viewers have been to a dungeons attraction, you will know that there will need to be live actors somewhere or everywhere in the dungeon. Now come back to me when you found an attraction, a Merlin attraction, other than Shrek's Adventure, which is solely Shrek's Adventure. Have you ever seen a Merlin attraction in a Merlin theme park that needs live actors that has lasted any more than 1 or 2 seasons?
And you make a really, really good point there, because it's unheard of.
It cannot work. And as much as we'd like it to, you get these dungeon attractions in fucking York, London, where else are they? Edinburgh. You get all of the Blackpool, indeed, yeah. And you get all of the attractions, but they're solely dungeons. They're not like a theme park attraction, if you know what I mean.
No, they have, everyone who works there is there for that. Do you know what I mean? That like they're not in a place where they have to be limited on staff or anything. Like, they are prioritised and full of people. Also, that brings me to a point. Do you think they're going to be paid for? Because if they're going to have to run them with more staff, and it's obviously going to cost them a lot more, do you think they're going to be paid to be paid for?
What do you mean? Like, do customers have to pay?
Yeah.
Extra?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it seems like a very Merlin thing to do.
I reckon you have to pay for them, because, like you say, they're going to need a shit ton of staff. So it could be the way they excuse it, and they'll probably sell it. So like they sell the scare maze tickets on top of your entry.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I was speaking to James earlier about this situation, and we were saying, and I was just speculating, to be honest. I was just thinking off the top of my head, and if they go down the route of making a Dungeons attraction with a drop, it really wouldn't surprise me if they use the ABP drop tower that they use for subspecies, not Subterra, and if they use that one, which will be great. There is no way they'll be able to do it in the Towers building, so they would have to, under every circumstance, put it in the same building that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah, now you mentioned that, because as you were saying earlier, it could be in the Towers, like, totally can't be, can it? Because they were built to build anything in it.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I'm coming on to. It can be one of two things. We can either have the drop tower attraction with the dungeon, and it could possibly work in the Charlie building, or we could be completely wrong, and it could have no drop tower, because as we go back a couple of years, you realise that ABC didn't want to help rebuild the drop tower, as they didn't have the parts for it, and they didn't have.
And yeah, they're not even they're bankrupt, aren't they? They're not working company anymore.
Yeah, I believe so. So going back to it, I'm just thinking off the top of my head again. It will either have a drop tower and be in the Charlie building, or possibly they could be refurbishing the Charlie building. And the reason that they got rid of Terror of the Towers this year, Scarefest, is because they were going to put the Alton Towers dungeons inside the towers, which to me not the sense.
It makes loads of sense, and honestly, that would be perfect. That would be like the best result we could possibly ask for. I think there's a lot of potential for that as well. I really wouldn't like to see it in the Charlie building. If it has to be, though, it has to be. But that makes you wonder how long Cloud Cuckoo Land's going to be Cloud Cuckoo Land for. Because the last time I saw Cloud Cuckoo Land, it wasn't in the best of states anyway. We had like 2 rides in there that were actually 2 rides in the cinema. Do you know what I mean?
The cinema's gone now, mate. The cinema's gone. Really?
Shit! No, I didn't even know that. So there you go then. Are we even sure that Cloud Cuckoo Land's going to stay Cloud Cuckoo Land?
The thing is, as a fan of the park and not a specific area, I'd like to think that they would hold on to the fact that they've got another kids area and try and make it the best they can. But they've gotten rid of Charlie, and if they're refurbishing it, fucking brilliant. But they've got rid of Charlie. They got rid. Is the Burger Kitchen in Cloud Cuckoo Land still functional?
Last time I went, which was in August, it was.
Okay, so that's a positive sign. But they've literally got the frog hopper and the driving school.
Well, yeah, and think about how easy it would be for them just to expand CBeebies and then retheme those rides and put them in CBeebies Land, which is honestly what I think would happen.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they've got a lot of space to expand in CBeebies Land. They've got an absolutely incredible following, and it's insanely so after the installation of the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. It must be a massive percentage of ticket sales.
Completely. I'm pretty sure every family with small children aged, I don't know, 3 to 12 would probably, visit in just solely for CBeebies Land.
Yeah, definitely. I know you say, like, with an overall fan of the park, you like to see them expand Cloud Cuckoo Land and make that the best it can be. But I'm on the other side of the fence. I I would absolutely love to see it gone because the place it's so. I mean, I haven't seen anything exciting going on in Cloud Cuckoo Land since I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's a nice bit of space that could be used for something better. And if they used it for a dungeons themed sort of ride, then that's right next to the towers as well. You can walk straight down to the towers from it, and they could build like a really nice like medieval sort of setting around there.
Yeah, completely. I mean, like thinking about it, and when you said nothing really exciting has happened in Cloud Cuckoo Land since the late 2000s possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, Cloud Cuckoo Land was built in 2009, I believe. Is that wrong? Or is that
No,
correct?
I think that's about right. Well, isn't that when driving school went in?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right as well.
when I was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory opened in 2006. I was 6 years old when that came out, and the whole opening day, I was there when I was very young, but I remember specifically that was not Cuckoo Land. That was Cred Street.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. From as far as I can remember. Do you know what? Twirling was my favourite part of Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Completely. It was an excellent ride. Why they got rid of it, I have no idea.
I really don't know. I can only assume it's maintenance.
I would guess so.
I'd love to see something like that down in the gardens.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the dungeons, overall opinion, before we move on, because we can always talk about it. The thing is, we can always talk about it as we learn more.
Yeah, completely, and obviously as more's revealed, because it's not until 2019, we forget.
Yeah, it's a while away.
So,
It's exciting stuff though. It's nice to see that they're always adapting and putting new things in.
I mean, they could have gone one of two ways. They could have built Wicker Man and said, right, that'll be it for the next couple of years. Because I mean,
Yeah.
after the Smiler crash, which I don't really like bringing up, but after the Smiler crash, the park really struggled financially.
Yeah,
so
of course. Financially and in the eyes of the public as well.
I honestly really think that Wicker Man has redeemed the park in a way, not completely, and don't get me wrong, but I think in the eyes of the public, the Wicker Man has given Alton Towers that
A New Hope kind of feel.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know if you saw it, but did you see that document?
Inside, yeah. Oh my, that was such a. I was gonna bring that up actually because Did you see the part of it where the guy's like, he said like, oh, never mind. I don't know if I can remember, but it was something.
The ride's fucked.
Yeah, that's it. When he said the ride's fucked.
Yeah.
That was quite funny. If we move on to talking about that documentary, I was really excited to watch that because the last thing I'd seen that was anything like that was back when. Have you ever seen the documentary? It's called like Merlin Magic or something like, or the Alton Towers Magic, or the Magic Factory. That's the name of it.
Yeah, and it was aired around the time of Oblivion.
Yeah, and they followed that as well. Which I absolutely loved that documentary, so it was nice to see something similar to that, but modern.
As a fan of the park, it was really nice to see a modernised version. However, I do prefer the magic making one.
Me too, but that's because inside Alton Towers seemed more like an advertisement than a documentary. The whole thing was very advertising.
Yes, and it was good. Like, obviously we saw some familiar faces there, like Ruby.
Yeah, and that was really nice. I saw a few people that I recognised. There's quite a few.
Lee, and was Jamie in it? I think Jamie was in it.
Jay as well.
Yeah, and it was just, it's just like, you're really part of the park when you know these people, like all of these people, just not even knowing them as such, just going to the park and meeting these people.
Oh, it's just fantastic. Like the theme park community really is great. Like, It's amazing. But yeah, that documentary was good. The only thing that I have to say that's about Wicker Man, because I know you absolutely love Wicker Man. I do like it, and I think it sits really nicely in the area. That's probably my favourite part of it, if anything, because I enjoy the ride, but it doesn't do that much for me. But from the outside and the music and the theme and the way it sort of sits in its location, I think that's the best part of it for me. Is how beautiful it is and how much it actually works where it is. You wouldn't think it's new when you go. You look at it and it sits so perfectly where the flume was. And I was one of those people that hated the flume. Honestly, I hate getting that wet on rides in England, especially. And
Yeah.
the flume was just, it looked like it was falling apart at the back. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, as you were saying about the theme and the music and the whole experience,
Oh, it's so good.
I really enjoy it. And the thing is that that I'm kind of regretfully going to say is that this is the first coaster at Alton Towers that John Wardley hasn't had a hand in.
I know, but it just shows that we don't need John Wardley as a poster child all the time.
Exactly, and I mean, I think it's really impressive, and I honestly, if that ride was given another theme, if that ride was just bog standard coaster, I think I would rate it quite low. But the fact that
it's not like that amazing as a coaster goes, like the layout of it. It's fun, but it's not. Yeah, like you say, it's definitely the theming and the wicker statue and the story that makes the ride, and that's typical with Alton Towers, really.
Completely, and I think, in my opinion, the whole, pre-show and everything that just makes it, and I mean the projection mapping.
Wow, the pre-show. Do you know what? This is the great thing about Wicker Man. It's shown what they can do, and I don't know why it's not the same with the Smiler and some of the other rides. Like Galactica could have had a little bit more theming, I think, or even other rides like Nemesis, Rita, 13. They could have. I don't know why they could have had. If they did what they did to Wicker Man to all the other rides beforehand, think about how the park would look now. It'd be like up there with Europa.
That's what I'm saying. If Wicker Man was the sort of what's the word? The foundation stone for the
what's
park.
To come. Oh, yeah.
I think
totally
a very bright future.
I hope so. I really hope so, and I also hope they look after it as well. Because that brings me on to the Smiler, which is horrendous. I love the Smiler, it's still my favourite ride, but they haven't looked after it. It needs some Towers love and care desperately. Do you know what area is the next area to get that? Because obviously they just did Forbidden Valley. Katanga looks alright. So is it gonna be? And it wasn't even that long ago since Forest got a little bit TLC. So do you reckon they'll do X-Sector next?
Well, let's think about it. So, Mutiny Bay's looking a bit shabby.
Yeah, it is.
I think the Wicker Man structure in the Wicker Man area is very nice, but it's not Mutiny Bay. It's
totally not. Yeah,
so
yeah.
Mutiny Bay needs a need of it. I don't think Katanga needs it at all.
No, Katanga's fine.
Gloomy Wood's too small to focus on, and Jewel only recently got a refurbishment, so not there. Forbidden Valley has just been done.
And it looks great, can we just mention before we move on? Like, wow, Nemesis looks absolutely amazing.
It does, it really does. For a coaster that's 24 years old.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It is a very... nearly 25, which is mad.
Yeah, it is. It still rides amazingly as well.
Oh, Nemesis, right. I've heard stories about people blacking out on Nemesis, but it's never...
I almost do. It's the bit just before you go over the barrel roll, do you know? Just before you go over the station flyover.
That's it.
When you come out of the Helix, it always sends me west. I don't black out, but it sends me west.
Yeah, me too. I greyed out on that section last time I went on it.
Yeah, all the time. But funnily enough, only after they sandblasted the track. Only since what season was it? I don't know if it's the beginning of last year or the beginning of this year. I think it's the beginning of last year. Do you know after they blasted and painted all the track?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, it was only since then that I started greying out on that bit. Before, very, very close to, but I don't know, it must be something about how they've refurbished it.
Whatever they've done it well.
I only wished I could have rode it when it first opened, because I bet it would have been so fucking intense.
Yeah, and I mean it's still smooth, but I imagine when it's fresh. Imagine when it's just opened.
Oh, it's bliss. The thing is with Nemesis, this is what people always get confused or annoyed at me for, but the only reason that it's not my favourite is because of its age and how it's more of a classic than a favourite to me. I think it's very, very high up there, but I couldn't class it as a favourite. Like, the Smiler takes the cake for me just because of how modern and how crazy it is and how intimidating it is. But like, Nemesis is a favourite in a different sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but because I couldn't put it at the top, because I know a lot of people do, but I just couldn't. Not because doesn't deserve it, but just because it's in a different level.
Yeah, and for me, it's the same thing. Like, Nemesis is a classic that we can always rely on for a good ride. But
yeah,
as a whole, Wickerman is my favourite coaster as an experience, and Smiler's my favourite as an actual layout.
People always complain about, it's got so many loops put together and blah blah, but that's what I love about it. I love how it doesn't give you time to breathe.
The thing about the Smiler with me is that when you hit that mid-course brake run, it gives you time to just think that you have just been whipped through 7 inversions in the space of about 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's crazy. You have to sort of remind yourself, because it doesn't feel like it.
And then you know that when you get to the top, you're just going through another 7.
The other thing with the Smiler is I absolutely adored the theming, and I loved the story of the Sanctuary and the Ministry of Joy. Like, it became my aesthetic for ages. That's kind of why I'm quite pissed off about the fact it hasn't been looked after, because there was a lot of potential with that story and with the theme of the Smiler.
Yeah, I agree.
It's annoying that they didn't do any sort of like scare zone down in the X sector either, based on the Sanctuary, because all they had to do was put fucking doctor's coats on and shit, run around with needles, and there you go, sorted. It's terrifying.
Yeah. And I think personally that they shouldn't have gotten rid of the Sanctuary as soon as they did.
No, that was brilliant. No one ever complained about that.
I really liked it.
I wonder though if it came back now, whether it would be. I know obviously it won't, but I wonder if it would ever be as good as it originally was. Because part of the reason it was so good, I think, is because it was such a mystery.
Yeah, and we didn't really know. We knew that it was related to the new ride, but we didn't know exactly what was happening. Because it's practically undeniable that this year will be the final year for the Welcoming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It will go down the same road as Sanctuary. But the thing is, I personally think the Welcoming probably needs a bit more money than the Sanctuary did, because the Welcoming's so well themed.
Oh, it's amazingly themed, but I don't rate it that much as a scare maze, I've got to say. Not as much as I did with the Sanctuary.
I really enjoy. I mean, talking about scare mazes, that leads us on to what we've got to talk about.
Yeah, it was a good little segue, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. What were your opinions on last year's mazes, and what are your opinions about what you think before you go on this year's mazes? I mean, news for the viewers: me and James are going to Scarefest on the 31st on actual Halloween night, and we're camping out by the chain oak, and
which is going to be fucking terrifying. I'm glad we're going to have a camera with us.
Yeah, so it's going to be good fun, and obviously you guys will be with us every single step of the way. But before we do go, what are your thoughts on the new?
So, so last year's I went with my ex, and I only went once to Scarefest last year. So we got to do all the scare mazes. Obviously, we did the welcoming, which I thought was absolutely class. I'm looking forward to doing it again, because I'm looking forward to doing most of them again this year, because I was with her last year. She was such a pansy, so it was mainly just me laughing at her, so I didn't get much time to be so intimidated. Whereas I know this year I'm going to be shaking in my boots with you, because we're both the same as each other. Yeah, so the welcoming, I really, really like it. It's a great experience. It's really well themed, and I think it really helped me understand what the Wicker Man was, because before I couldn't really wrap my head around it. So I think that was very, very much needed. It was great. They obviously blindfold you. Spoiler alert: they blindfold you. You get taken through like an old pagan village where it's the day of something. It's a festival that's happening. Where the festival for you to be sacrificed to the Wicker Man, basically, and then you go right the way through it, and it's brilliant. It looks amazing. But the one I enjoyed the most last year was Skin Snatchers. Alton Mine Tours. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, last year I went with Zach White, and we essentially just did the mazes for the whole day. I mean, we went on Rita once during the day, but we just concentrated on maze. We got the 3 maze tickets, so we got entry to Altonville Mine Tours, Subspecies, and Top. And then we got an extra run through of Tot, and then a run through of the Welcoming. So we did 5 mazes in the course of the day. And I'll just give you a bit of a rundown. So first of all, we did Tot, and Tot is my favourite every year. Like I love the simplicity of it and how classic it is, and it never fails to give me a bit of excitement for the rest of the event. No, it's not the scariest. No, it's not even the best themed. But the fact that it's in the towers and the soundtrack is absolutely wonderful, and it's very classic scare maze for me. So that was the one that sort of built me up and got me excited for the rest of the day.
Totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I've really loved Tot. Like, every year I've loved it. So to hear it go this year was really gutting. But again, the only bit that proper shut me up was the strobe maze and the chain link fences at the end. That really messed me up, because I don't know, it was just something about seeing this big guy at the end of the corridor. All of a sudden,
it is pretty scary. Anything with strobes usually is. I think the scariest part of Top for me is the corridor you go down with the mannequins. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you said you did Welcoming twice?
No, we did Top twice. We did the Welcome
Top twice. I was gonna say.
Yeah, so we did the Welcoming had a pretty big queue that day. So we did after Top we did Altonville Mine Tours, and it was the first time I'd done Altonville Mine Tours last year, and I was told that it was awful, that it was terrible, that it was poor, and the acting quality was shit. And I did it, and I came out the other end saying that was better than Top.
Really?
I loved it. I really did love it. The soundtrack, the hey, would you happen to
see the most beautiful girl?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the best for me right now, because Sub was not very good last year, as we can both agree. It didn't feel anything like it did before. It wasn't as intense, it wasn't as scary. It was still good, but it became an empty shell. I don't know, it just felt empty for me.
Personally, James, the year that me and you did Sub, we were very I think one of the reasons why it was so scary for us was mainly to do with the anticipation, because we were told by everyone that it was the scariest maze in the UK. And I'm not gonna lie, it was the scariest maze in the UK at the time, but but I think as time's gone on, we've got more used to it, and the actors have got a bit less motivated. And I
Yeah,
think,
because they were really, 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 like, they were much more aggressive and in your face the first time.
yeah, I agree. And I think recently,
I feel like there was more of them as well. This is what I'm saying. Because last year for me, it felt really empty. It felt like, and because there's not much theming in there, it kind of made it not so scary.
I agree. I agree completely. I think through the course of the whole maze, I was in there for about just under 10 minutes, and I genuinely came across about 4 or 5 actors.
Yeah, which compared to last year, every fucking corner, every little bit of path you were in, there was people everywhere, behind you, in front of you, pushing you in every different direction. You could spend up to 20 minutes in there.
Yeah, and the chainsaw really shut me up in the first year, whereas this year I kind of just walked out and found it a bit funny. But
Yeah.
one of those things, like,
That's down to us though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But I think, yeah, the only bit about Sub that's actually scary is, 1, getting split up, and 2, the anticipation. I don't think that it is too bad. Whereas Mindsaws was scary, but it was also a bit funny, and the theming was great. Top was just classic, and Sub was a bit poor.
I think you've got that spot on there. So this year though, we've got a new maze to tackle.
Project 42.
And I'm shitting myself because, again, like you say, the anticipation. I don't know what's going to happen, and Phalanx has got a history of scaring the shit out of me anyway.
Especially in their debut year.
Yeah. So, well, like thinking about it, Subterra used to scare the crap out of me. When I was a kid, Nemesis used to scare the crap out of me, and Project 42 is probably going to scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the military thing. I think that pushes me a bit.
I'm hoping. Sorry, I cut you off. Go on.
No, it's cool. It's just like the military and the aliens, and obviously we're so used to the story. Like I was saying to James earlier, I think Project 42 looks a bit like a sequel to Subspecies. In a way.
Yeah, totally. We were talking about that because of what the story is. It sounds exactly like it. It sounds like we're going to be encountering the same sort of dangers that you would encounter in Subspecies. But what I was going to say was, I'm hoping. Great. I think I've lost my thought. Oh no, I'm hoping that we see the actors in there being like when Subspecies had its first year, really, really, really into it and aggressive and over the top and in your face. And hopefully we see Project 42 become the scariest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've heard really good reviews on it, but I was just thinking whilst you were saying that, I was reading up on it earlier, and it was talking about how a alien virus has caused humans to become zombie-like creatures inside a military facility. And then I thought, literally just outside Project 42 was a scare zone called Dark Apocalypse.
Yeah, which was them being zombies, right?
So who's to say that Project 42 is like the prequel to Dark Apocalypse?
Which is fabulous how that worked out. It's great.
I might be thinking too much into it, but
no,
for me,
I think there's connotations there, definitely.
Yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to about this year's Scarefest then, Dan?
For me, I'm looking forward to getting back in the welcoming, getting back in skin snatchers, but over everything else, I just can't wait to see what Project 42 has for us.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. Welcoming, I'm not so excited about. Definitely want to see if Sub's going to be improved, because they would have heard that and people didn't find it as scary. I'm just hoping there's a lot more actors in there. I think that's all it needs.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, rides, can't wait to ride Wicker Man in the dark. The whole area is going to look so good. And that's what it was built for, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be nice to see those fire effects coming into play.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to the whole thing as a whole. It's going to be excellent. I can't wait.
camping near the Chained Oak, that's going to be a great experience. We need to get on Hex to get hyped for that.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon sort of as Justin's coming and we've done a few mazes, I can get a quick ride on Hex and we'll be like later on going next to that tree.
Yeah, totally. It's going to be really good. And then, like we said, we're going to take you guys along the way and vlog the whole thing. So, I've really enjoyed doing this podcast. It's obviously the first one we've done.
Me too.
And I think we should keep making them. If you guys want to throw topics at us, then we can talk about them. And as the podcast develops, I'm sure we'll get segments in each part. But
yeah, exactly. And like, obviously, if you guys have any suggestions about what we should do, what we should talk about, any certain, like, obviously what James said, segments and stuff, comment down below. And also, we might get some of our enthusiast friends to come and do podcasts with us.
Oh, definitely. We've got to get some of them. We have to. We can interview Andrew Seeley.
That will be something.
Something.
I don't know if I can risk his name on my channel.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It could work. Kim Nash. We get Kim Nash.
Oh, we could definitely get Kim Nash. Talk about his like upcoming scare mode and things like that.
Do you reckon he's doing one this year?
I fucking hope so, because when he brought out that one in his one, oh my god,
it was amazing.
I was scared just watching it.
It did spook me quite a bit. Kim Nash has got quite a scary aura about him, so
yeah. Well, there you go. But yeah, like I said, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be back. We're probably going to sort of do it on a weekly basis, but we're not going to keep ourselves on a time limit. We're just going to do it whenever we feel fit at the moment. When we get a few subscribers, hopefully, we will be uploading more. And there is also a vlog to come for our trip to Scarefest. So we really hope you enjoyed it. Is there anything you've got to say, James?
I just want to welcome everybody to Koaster Khaos. Something a little bit different from the norm. Stick around, let us know if you want to see anything in particular. I've been James.
And I've been Dan.